What happened?
It doesn't matter.
We could have handled it together.
Yeah. That's not really what I do, is it? I've never really been able to just talk about everything.
Anything real?
Hey, I'm Derek,
And I'm Noah, and you're listening to A Bite of,
where we take our current favorite pop culture obsession and enjoy it one nibble at a time.
Yay, new episode of Moon Knight, new episode of A Bite of. It's a new week. Everything's new.
Two
It's great.
episodes in one? Whoa.
Two?
Yeah, new episode of Moonlight in the new episode of A Bite of.
I was like, are we recording an episode I don't know
Dun,
about?
dun, 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 secret episode.
I'm not prepared.
No, it's okay, just kidding.
All right. Hi, guys. So if you wanted to follow us on social media, you could do it at A Bite of Pod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We're there. This was the smoothest I've ever done it.
It was because it was so smooth, it almost felt unnatural. It was like we're supposed to banter about nothing in particular for 5 minutes and then somehow stumble into you being like, oh yeah, by the way, Facebook?
I mean, I don't want to pre-record it every time. I think that's poopy. You know, I listen to some podcasts where it's like, oh, the intro stuff is pre-recorded. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, we want you guys to hear us live and really what we're feeling in the moment. So I hope we're inspired by it.
If you want to support the show,
Is that like, it's like my Kardashian
you
voice.
can go over to Patreon.
Patricians!
It's also on the website. You can follow us there. We also have tons of stuff. Like, we have merch and all that stuff.
We have a tons of stuff.
Yeah.
We have a tons of stuff.
This week was a lot work-wise,
Yes, we've been
Moon Knight-wise.
very, very busy. But I will say, even though it's been crazy busy, today was actually a really phenomenal day at work. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
We've been killing it with the segues.
Listen,
far.
a segue is like
Whoa.
gold. If you strike it, good for you. If not, you're just like everyone else. So guess what? We're just like everyone else.
All right, come on. What?
But anyway, we had author advocate Jodi Patterson at work today, and she spoke. I am one of the co-chairs and co-founders of a group called the Long Island Library Pride Alliance, and so we were able to bring her in as a guest speaker. She's just phenomenal. If you don't follow her, if you haven't read any of her books, if you just check her out, watch her on YouTube. She's amazing.
Yeah.
I just had to put that out there.
I mean, she's recognized by the United Nations. I mean, come on.
Hello.
Yeah,
Alice Walker blurbed her book.
She was there at work. Both Derek and I work for the same organization. Surprise. But so we both got to see her and be with her. Oh, it was just amazing. When you meet somebody that is just a good person and also really good at what they do and just phenomenal, it's just such a weird and amazing feeling at the same time.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, people can be amazing.
Yeah. Like, I feel like everyone left the meeting today just like full of energy. Everybody was just like, yes, let's take on the world.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So let's take on a look back at Moon Knight. Was that a good one?
God.
Was that a good segue?
What's happening?
Did I do it?
I feel like we're just not.
We're just getting better and better at podcasting.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. What do you guys think? Comment below.
Comment below, better and better. All right, let's take a look back at Moon Knight episode 2, Summon the Suit. After the battle of the jackal in the bathroom, Stephen returns to the museum only to be fired. He searches for the storage unit and comes across Mark's militarized bunker. There he finds the scarab, is haunted by Khonshu, and finally falls into the wheels of Layla's Vespa. Returning to his place, we see that Mark sent Layla divorce papers, and the coppers arrest Stephen. But they're actually Arthur's Amit mates, and they take him to their community where they have lentils, street goats, and nature documentaries.
Street goats?
Yeah, there's a guy standing in the street with a goat.
I thought you just meant a very, like, I was very confused by what a street goat was.
What's the street goat? It's just a goat that's in the
On
street.
the street. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
We don't have to think too much into it. It just is what it is sometimes.
Sure.
There's not a metaphor. Things get wild when Arthur releases another jackal on Stephen, who, to protect himself, summons the suit of Mr. Knight. After trying his best, Mr. Knight hands the body to Moon Knight. Unfortunately, in Jackal Fight 2.0, Moon Knight loses the scarab to Arthur and heads to Egypt to find him.
We do. We're in Egypt now.
That was like the Twilight Zone.
It was. I was trying to think of a like transition, and it just our last season was Twilight Zone, so I had to do it.
Sure. Okay, but things we're learning. Don't force a transition. Don't force any sort of, and I even forgot the word. What's the word?
See?
Huh?
What's happening?
No, right? No, what's the word that you said? Oh,
Segue.
Segue.
Yeah. Oh.
That's the word I was looking for. You and
feel very much this is Paul Blart doing this podcast.
I don't know the word, and you said C, and all I thought was the letter C.
No.
I thought I was on Sesame Street.
Anyway, let's take a bite of.
No, first of all, and then second of all, everybody knows.
Just trying to get into the episode.
First of all, spoiler alert. Second of all, how dare you try and take my part?
All right.
Let us officially take
God.
a bite of Moon Knight Episode 3, The Friendly Type.
I didn't know what this episode was called until we rewatched it.
Did someone say that
No.
in the episode?
No, it's just a friendly type of street goat. I don't know.
I did not catch them saying that. Oh, I thought maybe you would have.
No.
You're
I
better at
didn't.
those details than I am.
I didn't even know it was the name of the episode until like 2 hours ago.
The mysteries keep building.
Yeah.
All right, Noah, kick it off.
All right. Well, so this episode opens with Layla, Mark's ex-wife, and
Ish.
Steven's current partner getting forged documents. She's describing her situation in between getting photos taken for her phony passport. I loved this scene because as soon as it opened, I was like, whoa, what's happening?
I also love that it's her mom.
What?
That's her mom.
No.
Yeah.
When?
They're talking about the dad.
Oh, I didn't know if it was the mom or it was just like some person they knew that just knew the guy.
Oh, I thought it was her mom.
Oh. Comment below. Is it her mom?
I think it's her mom.
This is something we should know. Maybe. I did. So in the scene, you're kind of seeing. So they're going to Cairo, obviously. And this is like before the scene that we saw prior. I'm assuming in the last episode, because the last episode we saw Stephen and Mark in Egypt.
Yeah, but she's not in Egypt.
Oh, so she didn't go with.
She goes on her own.
So we're seeing how she pops up randomly.
Yes.
We're seeing the lead up.
She
Okay.
knew that he was going to Egypt, and she knew she had to get her documents in order.
We do find out that she's not really excited to go back home to Cairo. She's just more anxious.
Well, it's interesting, right? So we learn from her throughout the scene that she's almost like some sort of like
Tomb Raider?
archaeological Tomb Raider, but also like Robin Hood. So she
Yeah.
steals from the black market to return the artifacts to their rightful places.
But she also sells in the black market to pay bills.
You got to do what you got to do.
I mean, Robin Hood makes sense. He has to keep some stuff for himself to like keep his organization running.
Yeah,
So,
and he's got to support all the guys in the woods.
Yeah. Oh, Men in Tights. I was like,
Well,
she
they
has
have
people in the woods?
No, but they have like the Men in Tights have an actual like a real name, like the real Robin Hood name.
Isn't it Merry Men? Right?
Maybe
They're the
Robin
Merry
Hood
Men.
and the Merry Men.
I'm just going off of the guy that was in The Princess Bride that played Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Sure, I never saw Robin Hood Men in Tights, so I keep trying to picture the one where in the Disney version where there's like a fox, and
Yeah.
he's Robin Hood.
Yeah, that's Robin. Yeah.
And then,
that
like,
one's really good.
A Baloo type bear is one of the Merry Men.
Yeah. It's really good. You should watch both of them.
Well, with Disney Plus, I'm sure I can watch at least one of them.
So in Egypt, Harrow has the scarab, which we will recall as the compass of sorts to find the tomb of Amet, an Egyptian deity whose brutal judgment will murder many, many, many people prematurely. Think back to the week's ghoulish baby killing talk. That's pretty much what he wants to do. Harrow, via Amit, wants to kill babies. We don't like him.
No,
He's bad.
he's bad. Yes,
It's
that's what it boils down to. It's bad.
I don't like Ethan Hawke that much, but I like Arthur's character, so I'm very conflicted. This show is just giving me a lot of weird emotions, and I'm gonna see where it takes me. He is surrounded by his followers at this point, and the scarab is hovering above his hand. They walk on, the scarab closes its wings and starts pointing down. So, seems like they found whatever they're looking for, or at least semi-around.
Yes.
It's not very clear.
Right. I mean, the scarab said down. How far down? No one knows.
It's on the other side of the world. Just
right. Right. You
there.
should have stayed. You should have not come around this way. You should have stayed where you were.
One of the goons relays some bad news to Harrow that Mark Spector is now in Cairo. But Harrow doesn't really seem concerned about it. I mean, whatever. He has some glass up his shoe or something like that.
Do you think when Harrow was sitting on the plane to Egypt, he just kept taking the scarab out and it just kept pointing forward? He's like, the right direction.
I mean,
we're going. You guys look.
I think going to Egypt is probably generally
maybe he just had it open the entire time and he's like, it's true.
Oh my God.
We're going. You guys.
I can't see this
crunch,
dude
crunch.
on a plane.
You're right. It's probably like,
how did he get I guess glass wouldn't go off in a metal detector. But he'd have to take off his shoes.
No, you know he has like some sort of evil private plane thing happening.
That's true.
You know what I mean? He doesn't got to take his shoes off. Do they know? Do the rest of the followers know about the glass shoes? The Cinderella problem?
They have to.
Do they do it?
No. They just all get tattoos that don't move around and change colors.
Then what's the fun? There is no fun.
I don't know. They're really loyal. Just like a crazy, like weirdly loyal to this dude.
Yeah, right. What is the draw if at any time you are not granted immunity of the scales saying that you'll die?
Well, but also it's like, is it because he can do some magic with his two-headed crocodile thing? Because we're in the MCU. We're in the world of just people being able to do extraordinary things, but you don't see like devout cult followers for Captain Marvel or, Iron Man. You know what I mean? So it's like, is it because of that or because they do really believe in this god?
Well, yeah.
But it doesn't sound fun.
No, I know. Well, that's the thing. It's like, well, like with the Flag Smashers, right? It's kind of like not that they were a cult, but they were a group of people that were following a leader, but they were all sort of
they had a
in
certain
it for this
ideology.
Right. And they were all in it for the same reason. Whereas these people, like, guess are in it for the same reason, but like, I don't want to be a part of a group where, like, I don't know if I like think about like sneaking more chips, out of the bag or something. It's
right.
like, no, that's bad. Now you die.
Well, I don't. No, you would have already been judged at this point, apparently. I mean,
you know what I mean? Right. You're right.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound like fun.
No.
Because guess what? I'm always going to take another cookie.
I don't think that that's a prerequisite for you to die, but
apparently for Amit it is. What did that old lady do? What was she gonna do?
I don't know. Anything?
Nothing. She was like not gonna share her rutabagas or something like that.
What?
I'm just saying.
She skimped out on the rutabaga pie.
Yeah. They were
Wait,
like,
what are rutabagas?
Rutabagas are a vegetable. I think you're thinking of rhubarb.
Oh, okay. Meanwhile, Mark is galloping across the Egyptian rooftops, very much in charge of his body at this point, which is exciting to see. He comes across some goons murdering somebody. You killed that guy? I've got to talk to him about a dig site. So, like, right when he got there, just the fatal blow right into the guy's gut.
They're all about knives, these people.
Yeah, this episode did have quite a few knives.
Knife heavy.
Very reflective knives.
Oh, the shiniest knives you've ever seen in all of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. Parking signs, shiny. Insides of pyramids, shiny.
Yeah.
Everything shiny.
There has to stop it. Just accept that in the world of Moon Knight, any possible surface is going to be reflective.
Is reflective.
Everything.
Stone, reflective.
3,000-year-old pyramids in the inside, reflective surfaces. It's fine.
Oh,
okay. I mean, the dude has whatever. Mark starts to fight these guys, and you can feel Steven's good influence kind of starting to take hold. He almost kills a guy and then instead slaps him.
Yeah,
so that's
like
good.
He's like a younger kid. He kind of like is like, no, I won't kill him.
Still, Mark holds a giant, big, reflective knife to the throat of one of the people. I do also want to say that the music in this particular scene and any fight scene subsequent to this is amazing. It's great. It's like a mix between like the Avengers soundtrack and the Prince of Egypt. And I love both of them. Not Mariah Carey's song, Do you remember that song? We watched this
I
movie
wasn't a
you never
Prince of
saw
Egypt
it.
fan, though. Like, it wasn't something that
love
my
it.
childhood.
Oh, it's so good. Anyway.
But you're like, don't part the Red Sea of these two music styles. They're great.
No, you make them go together.
That's what I'm saying. Don't part the Red Sea.
I agreed.
Did you?
Steven, now regulated to the B personality, appears in a knife blade. Don't do it, Steven pleads. He blacks out and wakes up in a cab, which could be an important clue. More on that in a minute. We'll get to it. It will make sense. Is it a coincidence that Mark woke up in a cab? I don't think so. More on that in a minute. So, by chance, after he wakes up, the guys that he was fighting on the roof now come out of the A building. It's fine. Whatever. More of the fight ensues, or chase ensues at this point. He chases them into the marketplace. He catches up to one of them and asks where Harrow is. Mark sees Steven in the mirror again. Mark, that's enough. So Steven is just constantly being, I don't know, the Jiminy Cricket to him. Just, hey, stop it. That's enough.
I'm your conscience.
But like, also, part of me is just like, Steven, you know what's at stake here.
Right. I don't
like.
Yeah. What?
For 2 seconds.
Why? Why is Steven constantly trying to get him to stop? Steven, you know that you are not capable of doing anything that Mark can do. Mark has to do this stuff in order to stop Harrow from killing millions of people.
I think he thinks, since he's so like naive, he's like, oh, we can do this a better way. But it's also like he still has to like chase these people and
Guess
beat
what?
them up.
Some things cannot be settled with talking.
You're in a Marvel show.
Yeah, get it
It's a
together,
movie.
Steven. You're literally dealing with gods. Like, you should know that something's up.
Yeah. He gets knocked unconscious.
He hits his head real hard.
Yeah. When he wakes up, he's holding the knife buried into the gut of one of these people. Mark looks around, more bodies. He looks at the bloody knife. Steven, why did you do that? Mark or Steven. Oh my God. See these people. There's so many names.
Mervin.
For this one person. Merch.
Snark.
Mer. So
Stark.
Mark is confused and he thinks that Steven's the one that did it because at this moment we've only seen Steven and Mark. But Steven's like, I didn't do that. Enter in the theory. We all know what the theory is. I'm
Jork
excited for it.
Blarkley.
Who?
Jork Blarkley. Jake Larkley. Jark Blunkly.
Uh-huh.
Schnark Clunkley.
There's two ways that can explain this. That there's a third personality. Dun, dun, dun. If you listen to our Before You Watch Moon Knight, you would know that there's more than just Steven and Mark.
Jackie Jork Jump.
Stop. A lot of people have pointed out certain images of various reflections that could lead to Jake Lockley. You almost made me mess up.
Jork
Larkley.
Jork Larkley.
He's a taxi cab driver. Again, in the comics, Mark is the mercenary, Steven is the millionaire playboy. Jake is the cab driver that gets the deets from the lower class. So he's kind of covering the whole hemisphere of all of these people.
Is it Jake or Jack?
It's Jake.
Jake.
Did I say Jack?
No, but
No, it's Jake.
I remember there was some confusion at some point.
Yeah, there was confusion because on Twitter, whatever, I have a nephew named Jack.
Okay.
And it auto-corrected to Jake.
All right.
No, Jack.
But doesn't Jack sound more, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so what's interesting is that on the Disney Plus like screen, like when you first come on and like you go through the screens at the top,
Yeah.
it shows Moon Knight in the middle, it shows Mr. Knight to our left, and then to our right is the hooded character that's supposed to be
Jork Larkley.
Jork Blankley.
Right.
So that's interesting though that they're treating him as a Moon Knight, Mr. Knight character, not as one of the three. Do you know what I mean? Like if it was that, I don't know, to me it seems like it would be Mark, Steven, and Jork. And here it's Moon Knight, Mr. Knight, and Flork.
Well, stop. Jake
Dark.
from State Farm. No, but yeah, I mean, I think it is interesting seeing this and how they're adapting it for the MCU. Mark has Moon Knight. Steven has Mr. Knight.
Right.
I think Jake is just murdery.
General murdery.
He's a serial killer. Like, that's
They're
the vibe
really
I'm getting.
taking some interesting choices with these characters,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, I don't know. I think at this point we have to wait and see what's coming. But I'm just curious if there's like further hidden personalities within his fleshy walls.
Fleshy
Or-
walls.
What else are they in?
I don't like that word, though. Flashy walls.
I'm sorry.
Flashy walls.
So back to Mark chasing these people / Steven. There is one survivor amongst the carnage.
Mhm.
Khonshu tells him to take him to the ledge.
Huh.
Which, I mean, it's great. He thinks that he'll talk. Mark dangles him over the very steep ledge and asks this guy where Harrow is. He says, praise Amit, and he cuts him his scarf
His
and he falls
scarf.
to it. Again, these people are way too loyal. This is what happens when you're in a cult.
Yeah.
We've seen it. It's just, it's upsetting. Because also he's kind of young, very impressionable. It's not great.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the whole thing is, right, is that in a lot of cults, there is a very charismatic leader. And we see in this that apparently Mr. Harrow just is like the most charismatic person on the face of the earth.
Yeah, but his Mandarin is really bad.
Yeah, let's not talk about that
I
again.
just want to say the last
Spanish,
episode.
not good.
But that was the whole point. No, that was the whole point of that part in the episode. It was kind of showing that he is that charismatic. He has that side where people see that follow him. That is, he's providing. He can do things that, you know, the government or whatever their communities can't do, but whatever. Still, you don't have to kill yourself for it. But Khonshu casually says, I thought he'd talk.
Yeah.
While sitting on a rusted VW bug.
Well, you know, that's something that we actually didn't talk about is how they're in the middle of a alleyway or market or something like that when Steven / Mark, when Marvin falls and hits his
I
head.
can't add more names to this.
And then they wake up on like the top of a hill somewhere?
He had to have chased them for a while. I mean,
I guess so.
there's a lot of interesting things with what they're doing, and I feel like once we get to the end of it, then we're going to be able to piece it together, really.
There better be one whole episode of this 6-part event that is literally all the gung, 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 gung scenes.
No. Oh, explaining them?
I want to see all the in-between stuff.
That's a lot.
Well,
far.
They didn't really do it much last episode, but the first episode and this episode, they did it.
This episode, it seems like they're also lessening it a bit, and we're literally seeing real-time change. So, I don't know. Again, it's very interesting. We're here for the ride. It's a mystery.
How do you feel about, I feel like you really saw them in this scene with the beautiful blue sky, Khonshu's neck wispies.
I think it's hair. Is it hair?
No, it's not hair. It looks like Arthur Harrow hair, but it's like, it's what connects his head to his
But they're not
torso.
connected, though. They just dangle.
They're just they're like floating.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I don't like that
I
either.
love Khonshu in this episode because I'm like, he's cool. He looks cool. I like how he casually walks away. I like how he sits on a lot of things in this episode. But also, this is the first time we've seen him in daylight, so we kind of really got to see what he looked like. It's just such a cool design. I love it so much.
I do think it would be a really cool design to make a figure of him that you could sit on the edge of your bookshelf or something like that.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be awesome? Like how he was sitting on the edge of the cliff like that?
if we were at that level, I would just like have somebody make that. But I mean, hey, with the few hundred people that listen to each episode, if you can make figures like that, I'd buy it.
Heck yeah. That'd be baller.
I want it. So if they can't find Harrow's digging crew, they'll have to find another way to locate him. Remember, this whole thing at this point is now Mark trying to get to Harrow because Harrow has the compass to get to Amit, and they're trying to stop him from killing millions of people, whatever. Mark asks Khonshu if the other gods are just going to stand around and let Harrow unleash Amit. To signal an audience with the god is to risk their wrath. So we're starting to see, we heard a little bit that Khonshu has been exiled. He's not really on good terms with the Inyed. So he has
They
to,
don't like him.
Yeah, he has to weigh his options. He says, anger them enough and they'll imprison me in stone. Khonshu has a bad idea, he'll send the gods a signal that they can't ignore by blocking out the sun. Egypt is blanketed in shadow. At the dig site, Harrow looks up. You're getting desperate, old bird. Every single time Khonshu does something to this guy, we flash to Harrow to see his reaction, and I don't care.
I'll tell you what. You know what I need less of in this show?
Him.
No,
I want more of him, but him doing things that make him a good villain.
He did nothing that made him a good villain in this episode.
That's not true.
He did nothing.
That's not true.
He did nothing.
That's not true.
He did nothing.
It's factually not true.
It's factually true. He literally just talked a whole bunch. That's all he did.
Well, what else is he going to do?
Anything.
Well, he does
He
magic.
has a staff that glows purple. Can't he shoot people with it? Can't he?
I don't know.
Freeze anybody?
Well, Amit's in prison, so I don't know how much of her power.
She's been killing old ladies every other day. She's got power.
That's it.
I'm just saying.
Whatever.
I'm just saying. Less Arthur.
I want more Arthur. So
well, we're fighting. So
comment below. Do you like Arthur or do you not like Arthur?
More Moon Knight. More Moon Knight.
Well, right. Nobody's advocating for not more Moon Knight.
Well, guess what? You got to get rid of something else.
No.
Harrow.
No. So anyway, this proverbial bat signal almost is. Oh man, I just made a Batman reference with Moon Knight. I promise it was like a self-goal for me to not make a Batman reference.
All right, everybody. Well, you've heard it here. 30 minutes into episode 3.
It was only 25 minutes. So.
Noah failed. So
anyway,
we're dying.
A stone doorway opens up for Mark.
Ooh.
Last time I spoke to the gods, they banished me, Khonshu says. Your evidence must be indisputable. Okay, there's lots of thoughts I have with this coming scene. And we're gonna break it down and we're gonna talk about it. But as they get into the Great Pyramid of Giza,
the reflective,
I did love that Stephen freaked out. It was very cute. That's his thing. He loves Egyptian history, archaeology, all of that. He loves that. So it's kind of cute. It was like he's so excited.
Yeah, I appreciate that part of Stephen.
Yeah. Mark is joined by the other human avatars of the Egyptian gods. He's first met by the avatar of, guys, I don't know how to say words that I don't know how to say. How did you say it?
Hathor.
Hathor.
Yeah.
It's like, Thor.
Yeah, it's Hathor, but she says it really like.
I had to keep asking Derek, how did she say it? How did she say it? Ha-ha.
Hathor. Hathor.
Yeah. But she's the goddess of music and love, which sounds like an amazing goddess.
But
also insinuates that Hathor was Khonshu's ex, or at least he was very friendly with her.
Well, I did, in doing a little bit of research, some even goddess of music and love, but also known as the goddess of music and pleasure.
I mean, I assumed.
Pleasure.
Even though this is supposed to be the mature content for the MCU, they're still shying away from sex.
Yeah.
I mean,
we did get him in his undie pants last episode.
No, but it's fine. I don't want to see Khonshu sex stuff. It's very gross.
I don't want to see Khonshu sex stuff either.
Yeah. I don't want to think about it, is what I'm saying. So I'm just going to think that they held hands.
Spins that beak around.
Yeah. I do want to say, though, with all the talk of ancient Egypt and the Egyptian gods throughout the first 2 episodes, it was a matter of time before we actually saw that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I felt like, given how impressive the production design looks inside of the Great Pyramid, seeing the human avatars was kind of a bummer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's I wanted to see the Khonshus.
Yeah, I agree. And I also kind of thought that we only got the human avatars and then we really didn't even get to meet them. And I'm not saying we needed to quote unquote literally meet them, but I wanted to see each of them in some way, shape, or form. I think out of those 5 or 6 that were there, we really got a definitive shot of 3 of them.
Yeah. So I wrote down who was there or what I could catch from what Hathor said. Mm-hmm. And it's Hathor, Horus, Isis, Tefnut, Osiris, and Hathor. So there's really not many of the supposed 9.
Yeah.
That are supposed to be there. And then if you count Khonshu. But Khonshu's technically exiled, so there wasn't a lot of them. But it wasn't a letdown. It was still an interesting scene. but it was like, oh, they made this big, massive set. And I'm not saying they won't go back to it, but it was like, this was another big moment to get like that God aspect of this character. And it was like, okay, we just got a bunch of people talking.
You know what is interesting though, is that in this show, the gods, at least the one god that we see, is this wispy character, this computer generated character. Meanwhile, it's like Thor and his family are all gods and they're all just humans.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we're seeing more humans play as gods. I want to see the other gods in the MCU. We're getting more cosmic. We're getting more celestial in the MCU. I mean, we have, and I know this isn't the name of the thing, but in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, the big tentacle one-eyed thing is Shima-Gorath. It looks insane.
Yeah.
It's like, I want more of that stuff. And I kind of have a theory, maybe, and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that maybe we'll see it later on in the show or in something else. But I don't know. It's just like the allure and the excitement of like the potential to see them was like, oh, okay.
And I just think that this scene, the way it was shot, was very from down below, which I get it. They're up, they're on a pedestal, they're gods, but it just gave us such poor angles of everyone. It was really weird.
Yeah. Also, who did they go to law school? This trial was weird. I know. It was very weird.
You're like, they need a better court system.
They need a much better court system, because who is freaking Dumpy that's talking to everybody? That's just, I guess, running the whole thing.
Yeah, Dumpy.
I don't know his name. I don't know.
Is that Osiris?
Probably.
Yeah.
Or Horus. They seem like
Horus is
important
the
names.
sun.
Oh.
Yeah, Horus. It's Osiris and Isis, I believe, were together, and Horus was one of their brothers or something like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, with this, we do have to critique it a little bit, obviously. Not to say that it was just like, oh, okay.
It's okay that it was a mess.
It looked cool,
yeah.
But it was like, oh, that one thing. I wanted to see more of the gods, because they do feature it in the Moon Knight comics. They do feature it in the comics, and it doesn't have to be comic accurate, but this is that otherworldness, that fantastical element where it's like, is it coming later?
I mean, though, the thing is, though, Noah, I think if one thing we've learned from these 3 episodes is that there's no such thing as comic accurateness in this
I don't
series.
Need it accurate. I just need a little bit more fantastical.
It's literally, they're like, Moon Knight and Khonshu are characters' names.
Yeah.
That's what it's based off of.
How dare you?
But it's not the Steven. You know what I mean? It's just not.
I'm fine with that. I feel like the more we get into Marvel's, and I use this very lightly, B-list roster of characters.
Roasty.
Meaning not the Iron Mans and Captain America and Spider-Mans or Wolverines. It's the characters that's like really the comic readers kind of knew. Because Moon Knight was never been mentioned in any MCU property.
Right.
But the more we get into those, the more liberty I feel like Marvel is adapting some of this stuff. Because also there's just not that much. There's not that much history with some of these characters. Some of these characters that we're getting, like Miss Marvel, has been around for less than 15 years. And within that time, they've gotten like maybe 2 runs of comics.
It's just interesting. It's like, obviously I am a novice when it comes to comics, but just they're changing so much. I just don't understand it necessarily. When they're just base things that they could do that are the same, it's interesting that they just kind of let those things go.
Yeah, I did adaptation perfectly fine. But how much is okay?
When does it stop being an adaptation and begin being its own story?
But this trial does feature important background on the gods. And I will give this scene that. I think that was kind of the whole point of this. It wasn't to show, again, that fantastical element. It was to give us a little bit of backstory on some stuff. And it explains their relationship with humanity, the roles the Avatar plays, and where the series could be heading. Khonshu's conversation with the god before Harrow's arrival reveals the roots of the moon's deity's continuous relationship with his peers. Avatars are not enough. We need the might of the gods. That seems what Khonshu, why he's exiled, he wants that. As we hear from possibly, who do you think is the ruler?
Osiris.
I was going to say that, but I thought Horus, and I was like, son, not right. they're meant to be observers. These avatars are meant to be observers. It seems like they're very much like the Watchers almost, but with just a different deity system. It's fine. I mean, what's the point of having the power of the gods if you're not going to use it for anything? Who am I to tell the gods what to do? I don't agree with them. I agree with Khonshu. All for Khonshu.
You tell him.
What should fans of Moon Knight be called?
No.
I was thinking, I just thought of this as I was saying that last sentence. What about congregations?
Oh.
KNO.
Oh, I got you.
Get it?
I gotcha.
Because we can't be like, Moon Knighters.
Yeah, and you can't call them Moonies because that's a cult.
Yeah, or Loonies. That's also
not
great.
Okay.
Right.
Moonions.
No. Sounds like Funyuns.
Exactly. Delicious. And then they eat Funyuns, and then when they bite them, they make sure they're in the shape of a crescent moon.
Comment
oniony,
below, what do you think Moon Knight watchers / fans should be called? I vote for congregation. Like we're the congregation. Get it, cult Harrow. It's like fitting in. Like
Moonions.
No. So now wispy-haired Harrow is summoned. He saunters.
Yes.
He saunters in with his glass-filled Birkenstocks. Harrow,
crunch, crunch.
He deflects everything. Do not trust the word of a shamed god. His servant is unwell. This man who literally doesn't even know his own name. I've seen him speak to himself. I have no idea how many personalities he possesses. This man is clearly insane. Again, Harrow is villainizing and being very disrespectful, especially to somebody that has what he is claiming to be unwell. Bad person. Harrow is bad. Don't know why I keep reminding people that, but he's bad. He's no.
He's bad. Yeah, I don't understand why the gods believe Harrow over Steven.
Well, we know later on that he kind of like...
Well, but they're gods. They're gods. They should know. They're gods. They're gods. They should know. I also do have another complaint. You guys. I don't like how ridiculous Oscar Isaac is being when Khonshu is speaking through the body. The full-on head back, yelling, eyes bulging out of the head, spitting thing. All the other avatars have the ghosts in them, and they are speaking calmly.
But do they have multiple personalities?
I don't know, but like when the god's in control, the god's in control.
It's
a bizarre choice.
It is, and I don't know if it was because of that or it was because like this was his first time experiencing like Khonshu talking through him. It was a lot. The scene was interesting. It was like it gave us stuff we kind of needed to know, but it was done in a very odd way.
Right. The information was good, but the execution was not.
Right. And the trial was bullshit, and they all need to go to fucking law school.
I don't see. This is like my thing. I don't understand why Harrow gets to just like saunter into any situation, says like 5 sentences, and then they're like, yeah, you're right. I don't get it.
I think the only reason why he's like offered an audience, not only because he's like the one they're accusing, but I mean, maybe he was the ex-avatar of Khonshu, so they're kind of like, yeah, we know this guy, summon him right away. But it's like one of those things where it's like, it just feels like something's a little missing, or it's just, you just have to like let it be. It's weird. It does feel a little weird. It's like they keep having Harrow in it a lot where I'm like, I don't need you.
That's what I'm saying.
Aren't you digging? Go dig.
Oh, and don't even get me started. Like right before this, Ethan Hawke completely drops the Harrow voice. He's like, I'm about to be summoned. Keep digging. I'm like, girl, if you're going to commit, you figure out what a yelling Harrow voice sounds like, because it's not Ethan Hawke.
He was like trying to like be two-faced with everybody.
No, I think he just didn't know how to scream in the Harrow voice.
Maybe. Well, he's supposed to be every time. Like, that's how we've only seen him so far.
Oh, man.
So the avatars at this point want to speak to Mark Spector, and they ask him if he's unwell. And Mark Spector says, I am. But he tries to put it back on Harrow because he's not the one on trial, which makes sense. But I am liking that as far as DID goes, it's showing that he is a little more open. He admits that he needs help. He wants help. But he's kind of busy at the moment.
He's got a lot going on.
He has a lot going on.
Okay.
Right. And they think Khonshu is taking advantage of Mark, which I don't know. I kind of see that point because especially if when we first see Khonshu, he says, oh, the worm is in control now. He knows about it. And Khonshu is still kind of going along with it. So if Khonshu was a just god, even if it's for vengeance, you would kind of think that maybe he wouldn't prey on somebody's DID to get the job done. But Mark also could be willing. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I think that that's the important things with these conversations.
Look, folks, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Okay. But apparently Arthur Harrow can just keep killing people and the gods are like, 2 thumbs up, man.
Do they know what's happening, though?
How could they not? How could they not?
He didn't do it in Egypt.
How could they not?
He didn't.
They're all over the world.
No, I know.
They don't all live in Egypt.
No, I know. I'm just saying they didn't do it in Egypt. So, so as we insinuated, they don't take any action against Harrow or Mark, and they leave Mark on the floor of the pyramid. Then Hathor is like, "Hey, come here. I have something to tell you." Ahmed had a follower who had a map to the tomb. She tells him to find the follower's sarcophagus, which was stolen and sold on the black market. You might want to start there. Godly wink, wink, wink.
She takes him into, like, I don't know, some a secret hallway in the pyramid, but it's like, people, the gods aren't paying attention anyway. You don't gotta hide. Walk outside with him.
God.
Nobody. It's like, we're being secretive. It's like they left. Nobody keeps track, apparently. They'll learn after this whole debacle to be like, you know what? We got to keep better tabs on each other.
God. I guess. Derek is not having it with these gods not being omnipotent.
I don't get it. They should be omnipotent. Just be was it omniscient?
Omnipresent?
No, omniscient is all knowing. Omnipotent is all powerful.
Oh, what's all places?
That I don't know.
I thought omnipotent was everywhere all at once. No, I could be wrong.
Omnipotent, P is all powerful.
My Christian upbringing is not helping me right now because they lied.
Someone said to me, do we get off tomorrow? And I was like, we're recording on Thursday. And I was like, no. He's like,
why?
Oh, it's Good Friday. I was like, oh, Good Friday. I was like, oh, I should know what happens on Good Friday with my 12 years of private Catholic school.
Easter is this weekend?
Easter is Sunday.
Guys, I can't tell you how many times coworkers have come up to me and like, oh, when Easter happens, I'm like, it hasn't happened yet. I fucking think Easter's already happened 3 times.
Got to make a last ditch effort to get some Cadbury mini eggs before the end of the weekend.
Okay. One last thing about this meeting.
No, leave the pyramid.
This one is actually very interesting and it has to do with other knowledge that I have to get out.
All right. Let's see.
So in the conversation, Khonshu mentions overvoid. Not overlord, over void, like a void in space.
I got you.
Yeah. So it feels significant, but nothing else is explained with it. I just want to say that it is an interdimensional realm that plays a very important role in Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood's 2016 Moon Knight run, which still to this day is probably the best Moon Knight run, aside from Jed McKay's. I feel like they're head and head for me. With like
heaven.
The best. But the Overvoid is this very strange place with massive flying insects and like floating pyramids with plenty of visual potential. And wouldn't it be surprising in the feature if this in the series that this was featured at some point to show the gods' true forms and not the avatars? That's the only benefit of the doubt. They mentioned it, and I don't know if it's just going to be mentioned just because they have to, because it has to deal with this type of corner of the MCU, but I feel like it's cool. Maybe that's where all the CGI budget went.
Listen, from your lips to Hathor's ears, baby. I hope so. Give us the Overvoid, people.
Khonshu mentioned it. Hathor, she better do something else.
Love and Pleasure. She's busy.
Music.
Woo.
No, it's music and pleasure.
Music and pleasure.
So on to the map quest.
Here we go.
Back at the market, Mark is trying to look a little incognito with like a baseball cap. It's very Avengers approved disguise.
Which he lost earlier in the episode, by the way.
You need to stop. You need to stop.
Continuity is important.
Not with that. It's a hat.
It's important.
It's not his costume. It's a hat.
The more
he starts to ask about the sarcophagus. Layla appears. She finally got her passport printed.
Hey, boo.
And she's like, hey, come with me. I'll help you with what you need.
Duh.
And she has, I love that in certain parts of the world, like drinks are in bags with the straw. It's like, it's genius. What else can bags do?
She's just being Layla. She's just chill like that.
Yeah. So on to the next part of this episode. Played by the late French actor Gaspard Ulliel?
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 I'm so sorry. It's French, so it's probably more nuanced than that to say the name, which sadly had passed this past January in skiing accident. But they do play Mogart. He's an antiquities collector who owns the sarcophagus of the Meiji known as Senfu.
Your boy loves to be ostentatious, okay? He said fire. He said lights. He said glass pyramids. He said shirtless on a horse.
Yeah, with the help of Layla, who happens to moonlight as an antiquities dealer.
Yeah, you know.
Mark and Layla meet with the sarcophagus's owner, Mogart, better known as the villainous Midnight Man. Again, if you listen to our Before You Watch Moon Knight, you know about him, just saying.
They're like, we did.
Yeah. I do also love that they didn't. No, just kidding. I saw the
saw the numbers. You didn't listen.
I'm looking at you, or talking to you, not looking. I'm looking at you.
Hi.
But I do love some Midnight Man. I love the alliterative villain names or just comic book names. It's a tell of the times of these names.
Give me more of it.
More on Midnight Man. Introduced
Mogart, more Midnight Man Mogart.
Yeah. With Midnight. Moon Knight.
Oh.
Damn it.
Try it again. Do it again.
With Damn it. Mr. Knight. Introduced as early as in Moon Knight number 3 in 1981, Midnight Man was a thief who would dress up in an all-black costume and steal famous works of art and jewels from museums and mansions around the world. Jewels. Naturally, he would commit his robberies right at the stroke of...
Oh, man, you went there. Someone's feeling frisky. That alliteration's got you lit. Boo.
Let me say the word of midnight, which means that's why he's Mr. Midnight.
Well, we knew where it was going.
I wanted to say it.
Because he wants to hear those 12 bungs times 4.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do all 12.
I like it. I like that this villain in particular, he's just more of a nuisance to Moon Knight. He just wants to steal things at midnight and dress up in an all-black costume. It's funny. More of this, like, what's the word? Like, I don't know, nuisance in the MCU. I just want more of these, like, annoying villains.
So he's not like end of the world type villain. He's just like petty larceny type villain.
Exactly. But now in Moon Knight the show, he wears a red robe instead of an all-black costume, but his interest in precious arts and artifacts remains. He views his impressive collection as a philanthropic effort at preservation, which is fine. I mean, I think that's a noble gesture. You still stole them. To preserve them, it's fine.
Right, but it also seems that he has a very high interest in the one and only Layla.
He does. But I mean, it's interesting. So we're finding out a little bit about Layla. We're finding out about
her necklace. Her necklace.
Stop. You had to mention her necklace.
Her necklace.
I mean, leading up to this point, though, Mark and Layla, you can see kind of why they fell in love, regardless of being on missions. They get each other to some degree. They're also in the same trade almost.
Yeah.
But it was sweet to see them maybe in a lens of the past, especially when they were like fondling their hands together.
Yeah, talking about each other's the wedding. Remember the wedding?
But then they like so quickly, they're like, okay, let's get our story straight. You're going to be called what was his name? Ronan.
Reginald?
Sure.
Something like that.
Something
But
weird.
also, hello, name drop that like main guard. He was like, he's been looking forward to see you. He hasn't seen you since Madripoor.
Yeah, which we know from several Marvel stories. It's the mythical country central to several Marvel stories.
But in the MCU, Falcon and Winter Soldier,
yeah.
dance party with Baron Zemo.
Yeah, that's where Zemo did his little dance. In the comics, it's much known in the X-Men, so it's very exciting anytime Madripoor.
Does she know power broker?
Yeah.
She knows power broker.
Right. Well, that's as soon as he said that, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Or do you know De Fontaine?
Oh no. Where is she, by the way?
She's getting her.
She's gonna collect Moon Knight after
merry
this?
men of kind of baddies.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, watch out for her. She's coming back.
She's
obviously.
Coming. Where's Julia Louis-Dreyfus right now? Figure it out.
As soon as you're like an end of credits presence and a very mysterious presence, you're gonna come back in a big way. So.
I feel like we haven't gotten a good mid-credit scene in quite some time in the MCU.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I need one. We've had 3 episodes of the 6-episode major event.
Okay. Thor.
Thorm.
This is my theory. We haven't gotten a Thor trailer. I feel like it's probably because something's going to happen in Moon Knight that's going to directly relate to this, because Thor comes out July 8th. We're in April.
Show us Natalie Portman's guns.
But the only connection I can think of, and I know this is a theory going around, but I have to mention it.
Gods.
Right. Gods, Thor. Not only that, the big villain in Thor, Love and Thunder, is Gore the God Butcher. Huh. Interesting. What does Moon Knight have a plethora of? Gods.
Butchering knives.
Gods.
Oh.
What? No, gods.
Oh.
Gore the God Butcher. I feel like he's going to maybe kill a lot of the Inyed, and I don't know. He's going to show up.
Or maybe, how about this? Arthur Harrow is being tricked by Gore, and he's really going to release Gore.
But Amit's a real god.
Okay.
With crocodile face.
I know, I'm just saying.
I just want her to be alive so that way Khonshu can kill her.
He's going to bite her crocodile head off with his beak.
Sure. Yeah. So back to this lavish estate. This is the first like extended fight sequence that we've had that takes place, at least one of the first ones that we've seen, with the heroes fighting humans and not jackals, because the last 2 episodes we really got jackals. And I'm tired of jackals. I don't want any more jackals. I want humans. Humans fighting humans, or superheroes fighting humans, not jackals and this.
You got your wish, man.
Yes, I want more of it. I think that's like a common across the board. Everybody's like kind of like, okay, let's get some fighty fight, punch, punch, stab, stab, throw, throw.
Yeah, there's a lot
not
of stabbing.
run, smack, smack, CGI.
Exactly.
Layla, at this point, says that she wishes that Mark would have told her about Steven. But Steven comes into great use at this point, because when he goes to where the sarcophagus is, Steven's going to be the one that's going to be able to tell him kind of what this map does with the constellations and everything like that. So before Mark lets Steven out, Layla needs to buy time. And of course, who shows up? Harrow. Harrow again shows up, and he offers Morgat something a bit more tangible. Layla tries to tell Mogart that Harrow is trying to kill millions of people. Does anybody listen to reason in this episode? No. Nobody listens to reason.
Not human nor god.
No. Harrow tells Layla that Mark has something to tell her. Harrow tells Mogart that he can offer proof that the lore surrounding the relics is real. Khonshu tells Mark to summon the suit. Harrow starts conjuring something. The jewels in the crane start to glow that creepy Agatha all along Perkle. Perkle? Perkle. His magic vapors swirl around the sarcophagus, then destroying it. Layla looks up. It's Moon Knight on top of the glass pyramid.
How is Mogart not annoyed that Harrow blew up his sarcophagus?
That's what you got out of that? No, it's true. As soon as that happened, I was like, oh, this guy that wants to preserve these antiquities from philanthropic things just Is
He had
totally
it
cool
in
with it.
glass pyramid. He obviously thought it was important.
Yeah. I mean, he's trying to preserve it.
Don't get me started. Here comes Harrow again. I just don't. It's like so silly. It's so silly. He just mows.
How did he know?
I don't know.
How did he know?
How did he know that Khonshu was there? He blew it up with his purple and scraggly hair. Mhm.
I just took a drink when you did that.
I don't.
Rude.
I don't get it. This guy just gets to walk in wherever he wants and he just spits some shit and then everybody's like, "Oh, you're right." I don't get it.
But I will say, and I'm not defending his popping up all the time because it is getting increasingly weird. Also, I love, I didn't mention this, but every single time he's sauntering into a scene, you hear glass in his sandals.
Crunch, crunch.
Fucking guy. We get it. You like to self-flagellate yourself. Stop it. We don't need to hear it
I don't.
every time.
Although if it wasn't there, would we be going, why don't we hear the glass in his shoes?
No, because I wouldn't assume that 24/7, if he's upright, walking in his Birkenstocks, that he has to have
Also,
glass.
how much, first of all, I pointed this out in the episode about the first episode. Those sandals, because it's not really the first episode. Our first episode is before you watch.
Oh, nobody listened to it apparently, so it's fine.
That's what you said.
I'm kidding.
So it's like they're basically backless, those sandals. So that glass is falling out.
Not if it's in his foot.
Stop. But either way, it's falling out or it's in his foot. It's not jangling around like he's got loose change in his pockets.
He got loose glass in his Birkenstocks.
Stop it. Ridiculous. This whole character is ridiculous.
I like him for the character.
You can't like him for what he may be at some point. Right now,
I know where he's going.
He's not good.
I've seen it. I know where he's going.
Oh, boy.
I like the villains that it's like they're trying to be sympathetic, but they're just awful people. I want to know. I want to see where he goes. I like, again, that... Well, no, never mind. I was going to say he's not like the world-ending type, but he wants to kill babies.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
He definitely is. So Moon Knight and Layla leap into action. She asks him to buy him some time. So they both ask each other to buy some time. But he's like, I can do that. He does some pretty cool things with his cape and costume, which really is one of the more awesome superhero suits designed out there. I think it's great. It's functional. It's very on the motif. He can block bullets with his cape and then swish them back at people, which I don't understand, but
bullets
it's
get
cool.
absorbed into the cape, but
And he can
long
flip.
stakes can go directly through his body.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
it's like Wonder Woman, where her weakness is piercing weapons, but not other ones. So she can get blown up. But if you shoot her, she's done.
But then why is shooting here not the same as stabbing here?
I don't know.
Okay.
Bigger-
That's what I'm saying.
Bigger bullet stick, bigger volume.
If anything, just wrap your cape around yourself and throw your body at everyone.
Well, but we can agree though. We've heard a few times that this like suit is healing and blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, I guess it is, but it's like he did not get taken down with getting stabbed like at least 7
no,
times.
I know. And that part actually, like, I couldn't watch it. It was so gross.
I liked it. Where's the blood? I was gonna
He's
say.
Moon Knight. It heals when he's Moon Knight.
Okay.
There is no blood.
Well, that's
It
upsetting.
coagulates.
That's if
Blood on this white suit? You're crazy.
that's what makes it cool.
No
it's like
Tide
a
pen
pure
can-
white. He wears the white so that way the people can see him coming. He gets fucked up all the time. Blood on the white, it just looks cool. I don't know. It just looks like he was doing something. Another weird whatever. While Mark is kicking ass, some of it pretty gruesome as we just talked about, Stephen is pleading with him to get the body back. Moon Knight finally disappears and Mr. Knight appears. Stephen is back, baby. Time out, Mr. Knight. He says as stabby.
Yeah, in the middle of a fight where people are shooting and stabbing each other, he's like, let's sit down, have a cuppa, and talk this out.
Yeah.
No.
But as soon as he gets stabbed, he's like, take the body back, Mark.
ouch.
Yeah, he's like, no, not my thing. Which I will say it's kind of nice that he's like, okay, never mind. You do it. Moon Knight is back, baby. I don't know why I put baby in my notes, but we're here.
Flourish.
Yeah.
Give us the flourish.
Flourish. WandaVision.
Don't you dare.
Mogart comes for him on horseback. You made that face when I said the white suit thing, and I just now got it. Anyway, rewind, and then you'll hear it. Moon Knight kills him too. But that's assumed. It's off-screen, never trust an off-screen death. Just gonna put that out there. The character, obviously. We might see him by the end of this series. On to Starry Night with a K. Knight. That's what I'm calling this part of the episode.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wait,
What?
you skipped over her moonclus.
I didn't write that.
How dare you?
It's you.
No, you should mention that Layla has a standoff with the lead guy, and then surprise, her way too ornate necklace for that outfit turns out to be a good old stabbing time, and she gets him right in the arm sockets.
Yeah, right in the upper boobs.
Bam.
Yeah.
Now he's Jax from Mortal Kombat.
Stop. Stop.
Those arms fell right off.
Oh, I was like, no, they own Mortal Kombat. That's DC.
No.
Maybe he goes into that universe and then
Isn't that horrible movie that just that horrible Mortal Kombat?
they had some fine moments.
Did they?
No.
No.
In a car, Mark is looking at his jacket. Now, very, very holy. Get it? Gods. I really like that jacket.
Wah, wah.
Oh, well. Layla asks him what Harrow was talking about when he said that what she had to know. What was the other thing that you know? Mark plays dumb. We're obviously going to find that out. What
Who
happens?
killed her dad?
Mark.
Was it Mark or Jork?
No, well, I mean, technically it was Bushman, which we haven't really gotten any reference to except for in the second episode
Mm.
and the fake BI's car,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
All right.
Anyway, one of Harrow's guys is on their trail. They stop and try to piece together the star map for the sarcophagus, and it isn't going well. And Layla says they need Steven. Khonshu on the hood of a car says, I summon the gods, you summon the worm. He won't return the body. I love Khonshu, but it's also like, leave Steven alone.
Steven's helping you guys now. Give him
Right.
the respect he deserves.
So then what does Mark do? Because there's no mirrors in the desert.
Oh, the one place where there's no mirrors.
He rips off the review mirror and gazes into it.
Why? Why?
I loved it.
Why?
I mean, it was dramatic. It was a dramatic scene.
But do you understand that's the driver's side of the car? She needs that mirror. Now he ripped it off when he could have just stood next to it, looked in the window, looked in the mirror, looked at the shiny hubcap. Instead, vandalism for no reason.
He has to have privacy when he changes from Mark to Steven.
It's like when a kid's
Jork.
pooping.
Right. No,
You know,
stop.
they're like, leave me alone, I'm pooping.
Kind of, it seems. Oscar Isaac has to get into the mode. He's like, nobody be near me.
Don't look at me.
It was actually in the contract, and then they had to write him ripping it off. So that way.
Foolish.
Yeah. But anyway, he says, all right, go ahead. You're in. Mark says, Steven returns. He tells her that the Egyptians invented modern navigation using the sun and the stars. He pieces the map together. I will say the transition between Mark and Steven, this is the first time we're seeing it in real time. Great. Phenomenal. This is the thing I'm loving about Moon Knight, and the thing I was so excited for and hoping that we would get is Oscar Isaac's amazing acting chops. You can physically see the change from Mark to Steven.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
100%.
So good. Love it. There's a constellation in the map, which turns out to be a star, which, I'm sorry, is corny, but I also kind of loved it.
If you piece it together, it'll
It's
be
a
a star.
star.
And then if you look at a pinpricks right there,
Star.
it'll be more stars. I think it's constellations. You think? Do you think?
Leave Steven.
You literally said they were the
alone.
first map makers that looked at the stars and the moon. And then you're like, oh, it's a constellation. Erdoy.
It could have been like the Goonies, where that like doubloon was really just the rocks.
Was it a doubloon?
No.
No.
Anyway, it's a constellation,
Anywho's a bees.
but the map won't work because it was made 2,000 years ago.
Womp womp.
And stars drift. Unless we know what the sky looked like on that date, we're buggered, Stephen says. I remember that night, Khonshu says. I remember every night. I don't like that. It sounds so sad.
I'm so lonely. I have
Stephen,
nobody.
And he has an avatar. He's not lonely.
Apparently he is. He's being so dramatic. He's like a teenager. I remember every night.
Stop. Watch, we're going to find out a sad backstory about Khonshu, and then you're
Oh, well, I mean, any of the gods have horrible backstories.
Well, some of them throw up food.
That's
which
right.
Sounds awesome, but sounds disgusting.
You finally remembered a detail from one of my special segments.
It's going to be the one and only.
Hurtful. Thank
also,
you.
wasn't there doll heads at one point?
Doll heads?
All
Last
right.
week she was dismembered and her head was thrown up to become the moon.
Got it. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Stephen and Layla walk up to the top of a dune. I can turn back the night sky, Khonshu says. It'll come at a cost, and it cannot be undone. Stephen turns into Mr. Knight. When the gods imprison me, tell Mark to set me free. It's sad. I mean, at least it seems like Khonshu's like really being a team player at this point. Together, they turn back the sky.
If I could turn back time.
It's absolutely gorgeous. You will not take away from this scene.
If I could find
You can only add to it with that song.
Who said I was trying to take away from it?
No, I was agreeing. I was amplifying your thing. Soon, it becomes a kaleidoscopic strobe of color and light.
Wow.
Guess who notices it?
Everyone.
Mr. Harrow and his little RAV4. It's so... Why? I didn't need to see a scene with him noticing it. Obviously, we saw the townspeople of Cairo notice it. People at this point in the MCU must be absolutely fucking tired with the sky going bananas.
Here we go again.
What's happening now?
One more time.
Also, I'd throw up.
Also, now that you bring that up, okay, so wait a minute.
Oh my God.
We have the Eternals,
Right.
who are like who are the same exact thing, like in the same role as the Avatars.
Yes and no.
Right, nobody meddles, but they're sort of like godly, but also like the Eternals like control the universe because they're like in some sort of, what are they, like they're like in a giant robot thing, and then like, but now there's
the
actually
Celestials?
Yeah, but then there's also like gods. It's all very confusing.
Well, that's why I think they're trying to carve out specific things with the cosmic landscape. It's only going to get more crowded at this point.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Eternals actually does affect in the MCU.
And the Eternals have god names.
Yeah.
But then there's other gods.
Yeah.
And there's other gods.
A lot of the Marvel stuff was based in actual mythology.
No, I agree with that.
But that's what I'm saying. That's where it gets weird.
Who's of the MCU gods,
Right.
who is really in control of everything?
All of them.
Do they talk?
No.
Okay.
There's literally an Olympus and Zeus in the MCU. I mean, well,
And Hercules is a character, not in the MCU, but in the comics.
But depending on how it's written, it's more of like they have certain layers of like authority over certain things.
Ah, the onions of the gods.
Yeah.
There are layers.
So they stop this kaleidoscopic nightmare for everybody throwing up in the entire world. And Khonshu says this is the night. Inside the pyramid, the avatars are joined together. They are building a stone statue to imprison Khonshu, which is very weird. The camera pans up. The peak of the pyramid is gone, and the night sky glitters beyond. Layla finds the coordinates. The power of both Mark and Khonshu are evaporating. Khonshu is gone. The statue is complete. Mark falls unconscious. Yeah.
Layla said, good thing I downloaded this sky map app, baby.
What is the sky? Is it Sky Map?
It's something
Like
like
Night
that.
Sky or
Yeah,
something?
Night Sky.
That's what she was using on
Yeah.
the iPad.
She was like, oh, it's Artemis.
Wait,
Oops.
there's an ad. Hold on.
I only downloaded the free version.
Yeah, I could totally see it. Last bit of scene with this episode. One of the other avatars is walking with Harrow, which we believe to be Osiris.
We think.
We believe.
Nothing right being completely wrong the entire time we're talking.
There's 9 of them, guys.
He's the god of the underworld. He was wearing black. You know how they do stuff like that.
I couldn't tell what color any of them were wearing. It was so dark.
It was bad.
Anyway, he's walking with him and he's like, you were right about Khonshu. And in the end, he left us no choice. Harrow walks into the pyramid. Khonshu is now tethered to this place like many before him. So it seems like they've imprisoned a lot of gods. Harrow walks up to the statue. Can I tell you a secret? I enjoy dealing out pain in your behalf. This is my greatest sin to carry. That's why I walk on glass every day. Get over it. I'm going to do what you could not. Then, when it's finished, I want you to remember one thing. Your torment forced me. I owe my victory to you. End scene.
Boo.
I mean, it seems like he's just bitter. I don't know. Maybe Khonshu was just like over his bullshit and was like, I'm done with you.
So what you're telling me,
New avatar.
what you're telling me is that in our next episode, Khonshu's going to be in the statue, which means that Mark has no powers, which means we're going to have another episode with barely any Moon Knight.
How much do you want to bet that the next one that we get is what happened to it's the beginning of Moon Knight? It's a tale as old as time.
Tale as
where when the person that loses the power or whatever, you finally get to know how they got the power to begin with, because in that of them getting the powers is the secret.
Is the answer
to getting their powers back. Yeah. Tale as old as time, man.
Beauty
It's going to
and the
happen.
Beast.
No.
That's what Mrs. Potts saying.
Yeah.
Listen to her.
Can I say before we end this episode that there's like definitely a vibe going on with Layla and Steven?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's like she's like by Mark, but hi, Steven.
But like, well, she saw him. She's like, well, this man, he's got the brains and the body. She's liking it. Whereas Mark was dangerous, right? He was dangerous. He was the adventurer. But guess what? Also had the body. Now there's brains involved. And he speaks French.
Yeah. Wait, who speaks French?
Steven.
Oh. Yes, they all do, technically.
I
Right?
don't think so. Because he said something. She's like, that was French. Remember, he said the French poetry the last time?
Oh,
I'm agreeing with you. Steven
Yeah.
is giving her everything that she always wanted.
Yeah, but like, it's weird.
I literally agreeing with you.
No, I'm talking about the characters that it's weird. Like, not that like the situation is weird, but it's like navigating the relationships between a singular body, but with different people is weird. It's like, it's hard to like keep pinpointing it, but you see in like certain scenes where like her face kind of like lightens up and stuff when it's Steven.
Or maybe it's just more of a realization that he's not as much of a bumbling fool as she always thought. So being able to see him work his magic and use his intelligence is like enlightening to her and being like, wow, Steven, you're not what I thought you once were.
I mean, she didn't know Steven though until like a couple days ago.
Yeah, but he's just been an annoyance since then.
True.
Any other thoughts?
I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts? I don't. I mean, I think it's there's a certain part where she says that like, oh, I guess I haven't known my husband, and he's like, you haven't, and you don't. But I liked that part in the conversation because I believe it was on the boat. It wasn't like patronizing or like demeaning in any way. It was actually kind of genuine. Because again, I think he's always been dealing with the DID. But as we also learned in this episode, it's like actually coming out. And he hasn't had control of it. I know it's interesting. It's interesting to see his relationship with gods and then his relationship with, I don't know, hopefully we can trust Layla in the end. I don't know.
So many unanswered questions.
I mean, how's he going to get himself out of this one?
I don't know.
He has no power.
Call on his music and pleasure bastie.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can get back into that pyramid.
I guess we'll know next time.
Maybe.
On Moon Knight, episode 4, called No Night for Moon Knight.
Called Friendly Suit Man Cometh.
No, he has no suit.
But the Suit Man cometh.
Ooh.
You see what I'm saying? All right. So it's time for the special segment. Talking to the moon gods.
You just change it every time.
What is it? Should I do that one or talking to the gods of the moon? Which one
What
works
did you
better?
do last time?
I don't remember. That's the problem.
You did both, so you covered all your bases.
All right, I'll just
You only
have to
have two
sing both of
bases.
them every time. Let's meet a major god of the moon. In Greek mythology, it is the one and only Selene, the Titan god of the moon.
Of the Dions.
It's Selene.
You didn't need to tell me that.
Sorry. You see, she came before all the other Greeks, gods and goddesses, and is the full embodiment of the moon. Born from Titans Hyperion and Thea, Selene rides her chariot pulled by 2 white horses through the night, with the moon tethered behind.
Those are some slow horses.
She gives light to the dark.
Sorry.
I mean, they're like in the air. It's probably, I don't know what it's like.
They're in the air, just galloping.
Oh my gosh, they're trying so hard. I mean, if you ever looked at like when the reindeer of Santa's sleigh, it's like a lot of movement to not get.
But at least they're moving.
Yeah. Well, listen, she has to time the moon. She's not like Khonshu. We could just make it go like that.
Did you say Thea?
Yeah, Theia.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Thena for a second. I was
No.
like, oh, Eternals.
No.
Angelina Jolie, sad.
Oh, here we go. More talk of the confusing Marvel gods. So, like many of the Greek gods, she has had her share of loves. One of her greatest was a human named Endymion. Tales of their relationship vary. Some say that they had 50 daughters. Others say that they are the parents of the legendary Narcissus.
Okay.
Right? Another legend says that Selene had an affair with Zeus, who then agreed to give Endymion the choice of when he would like to die.
Isn't it a affair when Zeus literally slept with everybody?
I mean, it's always an affair. He was married to Hera.
Okay. I was trying to put the math together. I was like, yeah, I guess.
So Endymion chose to never die and instead stay in an eternal sleep.
I love that you can choose to not die. Whatever.
Yeah,
Fuck
it was
yourself.
kind of like they were trying to trick each other, and it just ended up with Endymion just sleeping forever. So throughout his endless slumber, Selene watched him every single night.
Oh, sounds boring.
Womp, womp.
Give me my Switch.
Although she's like, me and the horses, we're going. Although her love story may not have been the happiest of endings, Selene was worshipped and held in the highest esteem by the Greeks as the goddess of the moon. In Roman mythology, where she was known as Luna, she had temples at Rome on the Aventine and the Palatine Hills.
Yeah, they loved her so much that they couldn't even get her myth correct.
Okay, guess what, though?
You gave me 3 different ones.
Guess what, though? Because it wouldn't be an episode of A Bite of Moon Knight if I did not talk about Sailor Moon. So I just have to say where Naoko Takeuchi got some of her influence from.
Later Gators.
Right?
Episode's
Queen
done.
Serenity. In the American version of the show, she was Selene, right? And Tuxedo Mask.
I thought you were waiting for me. I was like, I
was waiting for your nasty retort, but you stopped early. His name was Endymion when he was the Prince of Earth. So do you see she took from this legend to build the story of Sailor Moon?
Didn't that happen last episode too?
Well, in the first episode, the god of the moon was something along Tsukino.
The translated name.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and
yeah, Usagi Tsukino.
I mean, it all goes back to.
But I just love that this.
Moon.
Yeah, this thing that is like seen like this like giant 90s anime, which basically formed the entire shoujo genre. I mean, it didn't form it, but like it made it popular. Like was
shots fired.
Was really based in myth, as the gods of the moon, which I find exciting.
I mean, every time you stop talking, I like go to take a drink. I'm like, I have time to drink.
You should just always be ready to talk and stop drinking so much.
I can't. My throat hurts.
Your throat hurts.
Yes, I have multiple throats.
Okay, girl, she needs to go to bed. She needs a lozenge. She needs some tea.
Well, later, Gators, this was fun. We learned a lot. We learned about Sailor Moon and Moon Knight and Mr. Knight and Mogart and Layla and Harrow
the gods
and Khonshu and a lot of people. And it's the plot is thickening. There's a mystery. It does feel very much like Indiana Jones mixed with some supernatural things. Hot take. I loved the first episode. Second episode, I liked. Third episode, I like it more. I like the overall story. But I'm waiting for that thing. That big thing. Or that thing to be like, head over heels, this show's super amazing. I like the show a lot. I'm waiting to love it.
Yeah, hot or hot take.
Waiting to love.
Hot or hot take on my end.
Waiting to exhale.
It feels just like a dude's movie.
Absolutely does not.
Romp in the desert. It's like super
Romp in the desert.
It's
Ow.
just like we're running on rooftops. I mean, like it's like the
Happened
same
once.
exact scene that happened in the Boba Fett show, the Book of Boba Fett. It's like they're running on the rooftops, they're jumping, they're doing parkour. It's like like you're saying, give me something original, give me something more. It's not there yet. In this episode, it felt like, again, another repetitive moment. Arthur Harrow walked in 2 different times and was really charismatic 2 different times.
His superpower.
Khonshu changed the sky 2 different times. It's like in the same episode, things are repeating. It's like, I need more. I need more.
I will forgive the sky changing because it was gorgeous.
I need more depth. That's why other shows in the MCU give me more, because there's more weight there. There's more heart there. I haven't gotten it yet with this show.
The heart is Stephen.
Who just is in mirrors now.
That's fine. I want to see Moon Knight, so sorry,
Which we're not even getting.
There's Layla.
There you go. She's had a moon kiss.
She has the same powers as Harrow. She pops up everywhere.
Yeah.
Somehow everybody knows where Mark is.
But Mark knows where no one else is. He's the worst at his job. And he has a god inside him.
Whoa. Later, Gators.
Bye. Thanks for listening to A Bite Of, artwork and editing by our own Noah. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at A Bite Of Pod and on Facebook at A Bite Of. If you have questions, recommendations, or just want to say hi, you can email us at abiteofpod@gmail.com. You can find us on all podcast platforms. Please be sure to rate and review to spread the word. Hope you join us next time on A Bite Of. Bye.